Hello, everybody. Welcome to NUFC Talk TV match preview of the match on Saturday. Southampton versus Newcastle United. We got the twins on the bottom there, Tim and Peter. We got Mighty Win, Brent, and Gary. Some heavyweights tonight to talk about the match against Southampton. Oh my God! Every time we start the show, my cups fly everywhere. What is going on here, man? Bottom of the league, right? Southampton, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
They are.
Bottom of the league. So, look, we can never underestimate anybody, but bottom of the league, we should be able to beat them, even if it is at away down Dune South. Mighty when you're muted, man. You're supposed to unmute yourself every time we start the show, bro. You're still muted. And now you're unmuted. There we go. We got you sorted, man. I had to unmute you. What did you want to say, man?
I was saying famous last words, but you just said, but we should still beat them.
Yeah, famous last words, certainly. Yeah, you're right. You got a point there. If we don't beat them, though, some people won't be happy about that. But then you will say 9 games out of 11.
9 out of 11.
That's
still
perfect.
Not bad.
Although losing against the worst team in the league might be not what fans are looking forward to. We did put up a poll, of course, in the channel as we do every time before match days, usually on Wednesdays. So people got time to vote. How many votes do we got? We got 712 votes. 712 people have gone around and voted. 86% say Newcastle will win. 9% that Southampton will win, and 5% that it will be a draw. So I think
9% must be Southampton fans.
It must be. I don't know what they're doing hanging around the Newcastle channel, but I was about to say,
coming here for good content. That's what they're doing.
Yeah, there you go. Well, but I was about to say, 86%, although it's high, it's probably our lowest percentage on these polls that we've been doing since.
Isn't it amazing? At the back of a bad result. I mean, don't forget against Bournemouth, it was in the 90s. You know, Bournemouth were a good side, and we still had 93% saying we were going to win it.
Exactly.
Now we're playing bottom of the league, and there's 9% saying we're going to lose it.
Yeah. That's how people are looking at it for certain. Or maybe they're just looking at it and saying, look, Southampton might beat us. I don't know how. Southampton, when's the last time they won anything?
Well, they've only won one all season, haven't they?
Fucking hell. Yeah, might as well not even look at it, man.
No, exactly. They've lost the last 5 on the bounce, so...
yeah.
I mean, if you were to go on statistics, right, and I'm going to say this with a little bit of tongue in cheek, they seem to come out the blocks from the first half really quick, and they've scored most of the goals within the first 15 minutes. And again, at the start of the second half, the first 15 minutes, they've scored 4 in the first 15 minutes of the first half, and 5 in the first 15 minutes of the second half. So that's where they seem to be. So if you can keep them quiet, I mean, come on. You know what I mean? I just can't see anything but a win.
Exactly. All right, well, what do you guys think? Southampton is we should beat them, but what do you guys think about the current situation of the club? Not the club, the team, brother. Last game around...
I'm just happy Matt Letizia is not playing for them.
There's a few absentees, of course, but I mean, is there any way that you guys would fathom a loss against Southampton? I mean,
there's no excuse.
It is possible, but
anything's possible.
Yeah, it's Premier League, you know. Mind you, I mean, what I would say is, like, would anyone have thought Newcastle would have beaten, was it Man U, Villa, and Spurs back to back? Like, I don't think many people were thinking that was going to happen. It did.
And Arsenal.
Arsenal, aye.
I think Arsenal was probably the biggest one there. That was the biggest shocker, going to Arsenal and going away with 2. I'm liking them.
Mm-hmm. But you're right though. We should win. On paper, you would think we'll do it, but yeah.
I watched Southampton against Man United, and they should have won that game, like, blatantly. It was only the last 15 minutes Man U actually turned up, and
exactly,
their right winger got that hat trick. Before that, Southampton, believe it or not, actually, I know they're playing against Man U, who are terrible at the moment, but they actually passed it around really well. and they were getting all these positions, and they should have been 3-4-0 up. So, unlike maybe under Russell Martin, they seem to be progressing the picture a bit more and playing some good football in the opposition's half a bit more with it. They've got a pacey left winger I've seen as well, and Walker Peters left back gets forward well, but it's just in both boxes. Do you know what I mean? They've been pretty useless. If they get the shooting boots on, maybe they can cause some upsets. But like, it's kind of a no-win for us, isn't it? Like, if we win tomorrow, it's like okay, and we've got to win this game. You know, we've got to smash them. And if we lose, then obviously it'll be an absolute meltdown, and partly rightly so, because you know they are bottom for a reason. Like I say, they're hopeless in both boxes.
Just to add to that as well, like in terms of the manager, it would have been obviously better, I think, if they still had Russell Martin, and if we were playing them under that manager, because yeah, he was just completely stuck in that way of playing out from the back as if they were like Barcelona, like obviously a lot of teams do now, but like he was just refusing to change it. From what I could see, anyway, he was like just sticking with the same formula every week. And this new manager seems to, when I seen Match of the Day a couple of weeks ago, who were they playing at home? I think to be fair, they still lost, but they looked more threatening. So they were getting some crosses in. They were a bit more direct. They were like kind of like mixing things up a bit compared to the previous manager, who, like I say, was just like one-dimensional. So it's probably going to be a tougher game than what it would have been a few months ago. Yeah,
he was doing a Vincent Company, wasn't he? Said,
exactly.
This
Burnley.
is the way, and they've gone exactly the way of Burnley. This is the way I'm going to play. I'm not going to change. I'm not going to sacrifice
these players. Right.
And you can't do it. The Premiership is so different to the Championship that you just cannot do it. And you know, Vincent Company fell on his sword, and lo and behold, ends up at Bayern Munich. So maybe this kid's thinking the same. I'll go out in a blaze of glory, and I'll end up at Barcelona or something. Who knows?
Exactly. Win. Ronald Turnbull's going 4-0 to the tune. 2-0 win in the draw. Oh, okay. So 4-0. First of all, we haven't seen this guy. He's part of the NTTV prediction tournament, but he hasn't been on for a while, and he's telling us now that he's been ill, not good. But Marky, hopefully that things are turning around and that you start feeling better. Let us know your prediction so we can document it, so the Mighty Win can put it down, and certainly I'm sure it will help you in this thing. But hopefully you get to feeling better, man. We've been missing you, so let us know your prediction in the chat, and we'll put it in the tournament. Hit the like button, folks. Don't forget. I forgot to remind you. Please do that. Hit the like button right now. Don't forget to do so. Subscribe if you're new. Become a member if you can. You can super chat. You can do all that stuff. We are still working. Me and the Mighty Win, we're gonna work on what we're gonna do as far as Patreon and all that stuff. So we gotta get to. He's been busy getting drunk. So we just gotta wait until he's not drunk. So that will probably be never.
In a while, man.
Exactly.
You'll have a long wait.
We're gonna be waiting. We're gonna have to discuss his own match day when the match is ongoing, because he can't drink at home. So there we go. So bring us your comment. We're gonna show those in a minute. So please comment as you please, and we'll get going. Okay, so a couple of insights from both teams. To put things into perspective, Southampton has scored 7 goals in their last 5 matches. That's still positive for the worst team in the league.
They've only scored 15 all season, so that's a lot for them.
Exactly, that's a good point right there. Paul Onuaku, I think that's how you say it, has the most shots on target per match for Southampton, 1.5. Aaron Ramsdale is ranked 3rd in saves per match in the competition. Wow, 3rd. I mean, these teams, though, it's not really surprising that the bad teams, goalkeepers, are going to be in this thing, because they're going to have to save a lot of shots. And with that being said, taking a lot of goals as well. Newcastle have scored 11 goals in their last 5 matches. That's pretty good. They also haven't lost to Southampton in their last 8 Premier League appearances, 8 meetings. That's cup included and all that. Alexander Isak has the most shots on target per match, 1.5, as well as the pole guy for Southampton. So, I mean, Brent, did you get to say what you thought? You think that? I mean, there's really no. This preview is kind of boring, man. There's really no.
So I would say my biggest concern going into this game is effort, and because it's it seemed like the excuse was the lads were wore out, and I get that and stuff, but it's kind of a fine line between effort and how tired the players are, and it's hard to get into their mind to know how tired each player is. And I think Southampton right now are putting in a lot of effort into their matches. Their last match was against Forest, and it was a 3-2 affair, so it wasn't a blowout by Forest. Like they were saying, Man United, they really should have won that game. So they're seeing a little bit more they're still losing, obviously, but they're definitely putting in more effort. And if they outwork us like Bournemouth did, it could be a tight one. So that's my biggest concern going into this one for sure.
Right. Yeah, I just don't. I just don't see it, man. I feel like. What would you guys say? I mean, would you look at it from the Mighty Wins perspective that if we happen to lose, let's just think about it in a worse way. That would you all of you agree to say, well, 11 out of the last 9 out of the last 11 is not bad? Would you guys all think like that?
Depends how we lose if we lost.
I think the biggest problem you have.
I would think like that, 9 out of 11, but not. What's not acceptable is the fact that the 2 out of the 11
have been the worst. Well, no,
we're Bournemouth at home and Southampton away. But isn't that just typical Newcastle? That's the point. Have we learned any lessons at all?
And that is the problem. Right there lies the problem. Gary, you were saying?
Well, like I said, I think it's ours to lose, Chris. If we play suicide balls like we did against Bournemouth, I mean, Bournemouth did a job. You've got to hold your hand up when a team comes to St James's Park and does what we normally do to the opposition. You've just got to applaud them, and that's what I said. It's no discredit to the Cherries. What they did was absolutely fantastic. We hadn't got an outlet, and every time we tried to get out, and again, this is when it comes to the suicide balls. These are the types of teams like Southampton that will rely on your mistakes. They will thrive on your mistakes, and they will try and capitalise on it. That's what these teams do. They're not a great performing team. There's a lot of workers within the side. I quite like, is it Mateus Fernandes, the centre midfield, 20-year-old centre midfield. He plays centre or deep midfield. I think he's got a bit of skill about him. If he plays, I think his stats show for themselves that he's actually got a footballing brain. But again, I think it's like I said, if we stick to what we do best and really go for the throat, get the early goal. I think it will be literally how many we score rather than how many they score. I mean, yes, they may sneak the odd one. I mean, they've scored against Man U. They scored 2 against Forest last week. One's going 3-0 down. So is that a case of Forest stepping off the gas and making umpteen changes, which is what happens to us normally? When we make the changes, we go off the ball a little bit. So, I mean, you can point the finger at a number of things. But at the end of the day, if we perform on the day, they shouldn't have a look in, really.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if the rest agree. What do you think, Tim? Would you accept the defeat? I mean, you had no choice, really, but
Well, like if it's a freak result where we dominate the game and create chances and just don't take them, and Southampton get a goal out of nothing, or we get a 7-0, do you know what I mean, and get down 10 men through a bad decision, then you can take that a bit more, and you can move on. But like I said, it depends how we turn up. If we turn up where we underestimate Southampton, even though they are where they are, but if we're not at it, then they'd rightly really get pelters for that. So it depends on the performance itself. Like I think Bournemouth, was it tiredness? Maybe it was. I don't know. Did we underestimate them? Because you say Bournemouth, like forget the name, Bournemouth, they are a top side. And we should have been going into that thinking, you know what, this is going to be one hell of a test. because I knew they'd be like, I knew they'd be in our faces, and they should have been fully expecting that. So, like, we've got to go in to this game as if we're playing whoever, Arsenal, whatever, Man City, with that mentality. If we don't go into it with that mentality, then obviously I think everybody be really annoyed. But it's about how we apply ourselves in this game.
Yeah.
I mean, I think as well, I just mentioned, like, it's a different conversation really, but I think we really, we need to, but we can't afford to lose obviously games like this if we want to get top four. And I think top four itself, and along with teams like Bournemouth, mentioning them, we're in that kind of group challenging for that. And when you've got Bournemouth coming to us and doing what they did to us, this is where I think it's really precarious, that top four position. And I don't, unless we actually strengthen, the more I've thought about it, the more I've came round to wins, thinking that, if we don't strengthen this window, granted it's hard, but if we don't, then I personally don't see top four as happening.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Yeah, no, good points there.
In the
Peter.
words of Sir Bobby Robson with Bournemouth, we didn't underestimate them. They were just better than we thought they were.
Peter, if we play, say, if we emulate the performance against Bournemouth with Southampton and lose, how would you feel about that?
It wouldn't be good because it would create a really negative atmosphere around, with the fans, and I think that negative feeling, you don't want that to drag on. So, I mean, like Tim says, like the performance is important. I mean, I think in terms of perspective as well. Like, I mean, again, you're talking worst case scenario. Let's say if we're lost, I wouldn't be like, oh, this is crisis, and I would still look to see what happens the next game, the next few games afterwards, because Newcastle, they would go and then put in a good run against sort of better teams. So I've watched football too long to not know that obviously they can just turn it around the next week, the week after, and they can go on a good run again. So I don't think it's crisis time or anything. I just don't think that's how football works. Like, oh, we've lost to Southampton, it's suddenly a crisis. I think like you got to see
Right.
how things pan out afterwards. What's the reaction like? But at the end of the day, I'm not going to deny. Obviously, there would be questions asked, like why did if Newcastle lost, then it would be like, well, why? What happened? And rightfully so. But I mean, on Southampton, I really don't rate their goalkeeper, Ramsdale. I think he's shocking, and I think we need to get some shots in. Don't be shy on shooting, because bloody hell, he fumbles like mad, and he's really erratic. I mean, I'm saying all this, he probably have a blinder now, like tomorrow, but like from what I've seen, he's a bit. He can have he's a bit calamitous. Yeah. So
And
he's
it looked
that weak
like,
spot.
and it looked like we wanted him at one point.
And I will link with him, and I was like, oh, please, no, I wouldn't want him as well.
Exactly. So, all right. Well, let's take a look at Southampton. Their last lineup, and they got some injuries. So we got to let's take a look at the injury thing first for both teams. Injury and suspended players: Bazunu, Wilson for us, Stevens for them, Barnes still got a muscle injury, doesn't he? Stewart, Lascelles, Dibbling, who is this the Dibbling that
Yeah.
everybody wants?
Yeah, this is the devil
willing
that's
to?
paying no less than 55 million for.
Way
Jesus.
too much. No, thank you.
And he's the next biggest star in England, apparently.
I like Dibbling, but I don't think 55 is the number.
So, and Pope for us, of course. Pope, actually, we're going to talk about that. That's a good conversation there. He's doubtful, but apparently he's good to return. So we shall see. So last lineup for Southampton. They played against Forest. They barely lost to be fair, 3-2 against Forest. Ramsdale, Bernarek, Harwood Bellis, Bree in the back, Rebo Downies, I guess. Sugawara on the right, Walker Peters, Fernandez, Gary mentioned him, and Armstrong and Archer up front. I don't think we mentioned any of those names as far as injuries, right? So
Yeah.
It should be the same lineup, I would assume. If that's the strongest lineup to face Forest, I mean, I would assume he would
Who
go for
was the
that.
left winger that came on against Man U for them? Did anybody see that?
Interesting.
Okay,
We'll probably have to
Because
look
he
that up.
came on and he was absolutely skinning Euro for Man U every single time, and he was creating chances every time he got the ball. So I'm surprised he didn't start. He must have came on second half.
Reynolds
Is
and
that
Ramsdale is
Smallbone?
Oh
out.
yeah, I heard that too. Ramsdale's out.
Okay, so Ramsdale won't play if he's out. They don't have it on that list. So let me
Might not be,
actually
but I heard that as well.
I'll try to refresh. Maybe that's what needs to be done here. Just refresh and see if they have added more players. No, not really, but it's just a website. So if there's a report that he's been out, then it is what it is. But I mean, is that really going to make a difference? You know, I mean, I don't know.
No.
Ramsdale, whoever.
Nah,
really.
it shouldn't.
Exactly. So yeah, I no idea about the left wing. You said or right wing, Tim?
Left wing.
Left wing.
Left wing.
Yeah, it'd be good to see who it was, but maybe. But he didn't start with Forest, so he had played the
I
game
remember
after.
Smallbone coming on, and was it Aribo? What does that make any sense?
He might have
guys?
been a boy. He's a young lad. He's a young lad.
Yeah. He's the Nigerian lad.
Aye.
Yeah,
Okay,
Aribo.
so it must have been. Let me see right here. You got Smallbone came in, Armstrong, Wood, and Onuaku.
Oh, and Wako.
I'm pretty sure it's Onuaku because he's starting.
Yeah.
I mean, he started against Forest, and he came in as a sub against Man U. Other than that, I think that's the one.
I do.
Yeah. So there we go.
I tell you before we move on, Chris. You know what could be the leveler? Is the storm that's coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, according to some folks, that there's talks of a storm coming.
It's hitting the south coast on Friday, and they've already stopped some of the trains around King's Cross for all the Newcastle, the 6,000 or whatever it is coming down. So it's going to be obviously a typical 680-mile round trip, problematic time for all of the tuners going down. So yeah, I mean, depending on the weather on Saturday, that could have a massive impact on the game.
There's even talk about a possible postponement.
Well, that's what I was getting at.
Yeah, because we are going storm watching tomorrow at Whitley Bay.
Woo!
We're gonna watch the storm Eon.
It's your new favorite American.
Whipping up the waves on Whitley Bay.
Exactly. There you go, Tim, with his new favorite American. There you go, with his new favorite American. That's what he got you into, man. Okay, now. Anyways,
I hope he's not going skinny dipping tomorrow.
Man, I swear to God, this dude's just gonna try every American dumb thing around. Come on, man. Ian Fleming, can I change my 2-1 to a 3-0 tune, Chris? Exactly. So now he wants to go 3-0 to tune.
I'm getting confused then because he was up before saying 1-1. But what he's doing, and now he's doing 2-1 Man United. So Ian Fleming's been putting the Man U.
When somebody wants to change their prediction, they will say, "I want to change my prediction too," not just put a score and you run with it, old man.
Right.
But regardless,
he's gone to 0-3 now.
Thank you, Ian Fleming. Appreciate that, man. Let's talk about Newcastle United, though. This was back, man. When was this? Vlachodimos.
That had to have been.
My God. Oh, that's the Bromley. That's Bromley. Wow, that's the last time we used this. Yeah, because definitely I don't want none of these guys in there. All right, so we're gonna have to do a whole 11 thing. But we're gonna start with the goalkeeper. I mean, who is playing? Nick Pope or Dubravka?
Dubravka is gonna start. I think until Pope's 100%, Dubravka will start. I think we've seen when Pope isn't 100% or when he's coming back from injury and how he kind of reacts in nervous fashion.
Let's throw a curveball in then, Brant. Imagine if that's part of the deal to keep him here. He is number one.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, he's earned it so far, I think.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'll keep him in.
But what if, what would happen to Pope's feelings? I mean, a lot of people, you guys worry about feelings? I don't.
Honestly, I actually still like Pope more than Dubs. I know that Dubs' footwork is so much
Tim
better.
And Peter. That's Tim and Peter right there.
But I like. I think. I actually think Pope could have saved that second goal from Bournemouth on the
Here
weekend.
we
But that's
go,
just
man.
my bias.
The agenda, man. The agenda.
No, I
is
like
out
Dubs.
again,
I
man.
like what he's done this year. But I think Pope is a better shot stopper.
I think
I mean,
Pope
to
will
be fair, I
also.
don't think he would have stopped any of them on probably the last one. But I mean, that
I
was
think
even
if
tucked
you
in
look at
really
that
well.
second goal, it went right underneath Dubs. Like Dubs jumped over the top of it on the second goal.
Harsh.
Yeah,
I'm not
but
blaming Dubs for the loss. I'm not saying that it would have changed the game or anything. We still probably would have got smacked because they just outplayed us. But I'm just saying, in terms of shot stopping, if you look at the stats, the stats don't lie on that. And Pope has saved a ton more than Dubs
It's
this
like
I
a
year.
mean,
trade off, though, isn't it? Because he's better with his feet, Dubravka.
Yeah, but what's the goalie really for?
No,
Yeah.
exactly. It's
Well, I
it's
tell
that.
you what.
What
I
do you
tell you
want?
what the goalkeeper's for the back four to pass back to, and they
These days,
wouldn't be
it's tippy
passing.
tappy.
Wouldn't be
Uh,
passing back to Pope the way they've been passing back to Dubravka.
that's not what a goalie's for. Goalie's there to stop shots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Primary job is that, yeah. Primary
but if
job,
you,
it is.
I mean, if you're going to be picky, you look at Kluivert's first goal.
I mean, that was just an example. I'm not saying that I'm not blaming Dubs at all for that performance. Believe me,
I mean,
I
not at
think
the
he was
side netting. You know what I mean? I think
no, the first goal, yeah, that was.
Yeah, but I mean, again, if you're gonna, he actually mishit it. He hit it with his shin rather than his boot. So I mean, and I think that's what I was saying before. Any keeper can be done, and sometimes some of the hardest ones to save are the ones that are straight at you because you want to spread yourself wide. And they do have a tendency to go through your legs.
All right. Well, I mean, if Pope is available, let's go for a vote in here. Mighty win. Who would you vote for?
Martin all day.
Brent.
I mean, if Pope is 100%, I'm going Pope.
All right. Tim.
Dubs.
Peter.
Dubs.
And Gary, I'm assuming Dubs.
Yeah.
I think you'll understand as well. I think Nick Pope would, even if he's fully fit, I think he would. He's not going to spit his dummy out. I think he would acknowledge.
No, I agree with that. I don't think he's.
You know what I mean? He'd be like fair play.
A problem by any means.
Yeah.
Exactly. One thing with Pope always, like I've noticed this season, he seems to be punching the ball a lot more for corners and stuff instead of catching it.
Yeah. I haven't trusted him since he's come back from his shoulder.
I think we have really short. I think we have short memories on the season. I know we had a lot of success with Dubs, and we looked a lot better at the back. But Pope kept us in a lot of games and made a lot of key saves in a lot of games early in the year. And without him, I don't think that those saves Dubs would have made all. I don't think Dubs is as good as a shot stopper as Pope. I don't think it's really.
I do agree with that. I agree. I think Pope is a better shot stopper, and he's a good player. He's a good keeper. But I just think Dubravka's earned his spot, and we've got that stability with the defense with him there, and kind of like it or not, it is better with him having the ball at his feet, especially in games like this where you want to dominate the ball to start attacks.
I think in this one, again, if Pope is even remotely injured, you don't throw him back in the mix like that. Right. I think definitely, especially like you say, in a game like this, you bring in Dubs for sure. You keep him.
Yeah. All right. So Dubravka's there. Then back four, center backs. I mean, this is another big topic of discussion, to be fair, because Botman had to come off super early.
I'll keep these four in because the last four had a shocker.
Hey, well, there you go. That could be a good point.
I'm joking.
That could be a good point, though, because Botman was subbed off at halftime. Eddie never makes a change at halftime. He made one with Botman. Dan Burn, and you got Shar available. I don't think Lloyd Kelly is going to be, he's not competing really with those guys. That's why I think we should sell him if it's good enough. If the money is good enough, Juventus, we should sell him. But, what do you guys think? I mean, Botman coming back?
Well, there's a few comments in the thing in there about, which obviously I disagree with vehemently. Where are we? Regarding Mr. Byrne.
Sure I think.
I was farther up there. I think your boy Beer.
Yeah, Beer Viking was saying something about Byrne had a few shockers against Bournemouth. I do agree with that, though.
Really hope Burners dropped after his multiple clangers v Bournemouth.
Well,
So that's one
yeah.
bad game when he's
no, he's had a few.
playing
Yeah,
player of the
bro,
season.
that's the thing, man.
Well,
Look,
here's my question about the Byrne, Botman, Shar debate here. For the longest time we had Trips, and he was our team captain, and he was at the back, and then you had Byrne back there with Trips, and probably our Champions League season, the season we made Champions League, they were both at the back, so you had a lot of leadership back there. Now that Trips is kind of on the fence and doesn't start week to week. When it comes to especially vocalization, I think Byrne is your guy. He's the leader at the back. Botman and Shar are not vocal leaders. And then you add the two youngsters on the wings. They're young. They're not stepping up to be a vocal leader right now. They're learning. I think Hall could be a guy in the future, but you don't have a lot of vocal leadership at the back four if you pull Byrne. And Byrne's played well this year. You have one bad game, sure. But that's my question to you guys. I know in terms of talent, you want to see Botman and Shar probably at the center. But in terms of leadership aspect and kind of keeping the back line aligned, I don't know how that looks when you pull Byrne, and especially without Trips anymore.
To be honest, Brant, I mean, just on a wider point on that, that's the way the game's going. I mean, leaders and characters they're slowly being just like extinguished out of the game, really, because players now are more just cogs in a machine, and those kind of characters and leaders, you're probably going to see less and less of them, and as the years go on. But that's just how it's going, I think. But yeah, I agree though about Byrne. I mean, he vocalizes, he shouts and he organizes the defense. So, but I mean, was Botman injured or not?
No,
They said he was still carrying that groin strain. And to be fair, he was turning like the Titanic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He was found out every time trying to get onto his left foot.
Yep.
Because every time Byrne passed him the ball, when we go into that U shape, this is what I was trying to explain the other day. When they go into the U shape, we know our fullbacks will go on high because we want an outlet. And that's why we have Tonali and Bruno usually drop into the 6. J7 will go long for any clearance balls to try and compete with. It's a standard setup for Newcastle. It's so easy as an opposition manager to set up against them, to be fair. And like I said, you've only got to watch him a couple of times. But for me, with Botman, with that turn to try and move the ball from his left foot to the right back, is always a problem because you're not protecting the ball from the player coming onto you. And we saw that against Bournemouth. So we had to go back to Byrne, and by that time, obviously, everybody is on top of you. Hence the dodgy ball to Bruno for the second goal. And that's what I said. I mean, teams are going to compete, and I think and I said this months ago. For me, everybody's crying out for a right winger. For me, I've been crying out for a right centre back to compete with Shaw because he has been poor all season in my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
He certainly has.
What had he said in his post-match presser to the press, as opposed to the filmed one, was that he took Botman wasn't injured. It was a tactical decision to put a right footer.
Yeah, and Shar's he's the guy who dumps the balls over the top. You can't really trust Byrne to do that at all. Shar's always been that guy. So you bring him on because of the high press to try to get past that.
Didn't work. What was
the first thing that Shar did when he came on?
He gave it right to him and almost
exactly.
Gave up
it's
the
like
goal.
Supposed to be. You say about protecting the ball and not being vulnerable. Like he literally gave it to them with a lackadaisical crossfield, not crossfield, but pass inside. He did the same thing against Man U away. That should have been a goal. And obviously, Shaw's been brilliant for us for a number of years. So, love him. But he has, like you say, Gary, I agree, he's been off it a bit this season. I mean, it's a strange one with Botman because I think he's been really good since he came back, apart from that Bournemouth game. And being on the right side,
like he had against Bournemouth too.
That's true.
Yeah,
I mean, that's where he become vulnerable, wasn't it?
Yeah, and he's not a right-sided centre back. He's a left. He's a left centre back. So
Van Dijk for Liverpool, does he not play a left side sometimes? And he's right-footed.
Yeah, but you've also got to have somebody who's comfortable on the ball when you do that. You know,
Yeah.
I have no issues with, for years and years we've had two right-footed centre backs, and it's the same person. Whoever plays that left-sided, who's playing right, will open his body up in front of the attacking player coming onto him. I think the problem is you've got to be comfortable with the ball at your feet, and what we have with Shaw is a person who's comfortable with the ball at his feet. But sometimes I just don't think he's got a footballing brain. He
Yeah,
will
sometimes
look
too
for the
comfortable.
he'll look for the 80-yard ball when the 30-yard ball is on, and then he'll delay, and by the time he's actually made a decision to pass, the player's then marked. So then you go backwards, and I think to me it's all about having the right players in the right spaces. And this is no knock on Botman, but he doesn't look comfortable. Now, he's just coming back from injury. He hasn't got his speed back. He hasn't got his football brain back. And I don't care what anybody says, you don't get that in training. You get it in competitive football. And he literally looked so vulnerable against Bournemouth. I'm surprised we only went into the break just 2-1 regarding the goals down, because it looked like every time they went forward, they could have scored.
Well, we got to make a decision though. So
It'll be Shaw and Byrne for me.
Yeah, I think so.
That's my centre pairing.
yeah, but in my questioning to that is, if Botman is the best player, or the player that needs to come back to fitness, or because I'm assuming we agree that Botman is the starter center forward, or do we think that Byrne has taken that spot over Botman?
I think he does need game time, Chris. I totally agree with you, and I think that's what was forced in his lap. If I'm honest, and Eddie had to make a choice when Shaw got the ban. The only available player that we had was Lloyd Kelly or Botman, and he went with Botman, who is the better defender, or who up to yet has seen to be the better defender. Kelly looks miles away from what we want, even as a natural left centre back. So, for me, it's a case of go back to what's worked for the games, get comfortable again, and then who knows? You could always bring Botman in his natural position as that left centre back a little bit later on in the game. Once the game is gone and done, and they've had the press, they've burnt out a little bit, and I think that's the concern for me. You will get the high press for 15 minutes, both halves of Southampton, because that's the way they play. And I just don't want Botman to be in a position where he is left vulnerable again, because it's not his natural position.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. Byrne gets left vulnerable all the time, and he does it on his own, by the way, as well, because he just goes up front like he's a 10, and but nothing happens to him. You know what I mean? Nobody questions Byrne. So I want to know from the other lads, Tim, Peter, or Win, or whatever. Well, not Win. We know that Byrne plays there with him no matter what. But anybody that's got common sense, Tim or Peter or Brent, it's a tough one, because if Botman is supposed to be the guy, he's got to play at some point on his natural position.
I think what you said, Brant, about leadership, and Peter, I think is it's an underappreciated talent or element to the whole thing, quality. And quality. And I think Byrne's going to start, and I think he's first choice for now. And really,
right.
I love Botman, and I agree, Chris. Going forward, he will be number one at some point. But I think Byrne probably has to play. He helps hold that defense together with his leadership. But also, he has played well as well. Do you know what I mean? It's not like just he's a lump. He's played really well on the ball, and also defensively as well. So it's a conundrum, because with Botman, I'm trying to weigh up: does Botman himself adapt to playing right centre back and just simply get better playing there, or like you said, do you bring Sherry in? But the problem with bringing Sherry in is, like I say, yes, you bring him in, but he himself has been lackadaisical at times. So it's like, well, you may just persevere with Botman right centre back, where he had those brilliant games when he first came back in. But I totally take your point, Gary, about the press. It's a hard one to decide.
Yeah,
I feel like Botman has to come in personally.
I think maybe in the long run, it has to be Botman. Like, we
Yeah,
bought him
definitely.
for a reason. We know what he's capable of. We need a right center back. But we're obviously looking for a keeper. And again, this is long term. So whatever keeper you bring in, I think is going to have to maybe be an attribute of them needs to be, they just need to be super vocal. Because again, or maybe your right center back, whoever you find on the right side. I think you just need somebody at the back that can be very vocal, get the lads together, let them know what's going on, keep everything together, keep everything tight. Because if you just have a bunch of really good players, that doesn't always work out. You see a lot of teams that go out and get the best players in the world, but they concede like crazy. So
But
I think that just needs to be the focus moving forward. But Botman has to be the left center back long term, no question.
wait, Andrew said, I think he's agreeing with the wrong twin because he says I agree with Tim. Shar and Botman will start, but he wants Burn to start, or he thinks that Burn will start.
Whoa! Who's saying Shane Botman will start?
Well, first of all, everybody's entitled to their opinion, so don't be whoa-whoing anybody here. You know what I mean?
Are they not the best?
It's you that's just said.
But we're not going off of how things.
Andrew Bell says, I agree with Tim. Shari and Botman will start. I don't think Tim said that. I think Peter might be leaning towards that. Maybe you didn't dwell too much on
I feel like Botman, he's kind of like going to be, you would hope he's going to be the main man, right, going forwards. Because you saw how good he was, when they got the fourth spot in that season. I feel like this could be a game for him to come back. You're playing Southampton, bottom of the league.
There you go.
I agree.
And it's like, come on, show us what you got. Get back to your best. You're not playing one of the big boys, so hopefully it'll be a little bit easier to bed yourself into the fast pace of the Premier League and get back up to speed. I personally, I would put him in. I'd play Botman, whether it's alongside Burn or Shaw. I mean, I don't know. It's a tricky one. Yeah.
I like that. I like that, Jordy. I don't know. I like that. But
How's it Mackham?
See, now come on, man.
Hey, that's coming from the Mackham expert, right?
There you go.
He would know.
Well, you see, he's on the border. He's in Washington, so that kind of.
No, that's Jordy.
Right next to it.
I didn't, huh? Never know one.
So, but no, good points though. But I mean, if Botman needs game time, what better game time than against the worst team in the league? And
and we're talking about players being knackered. We were tired against Bournemouth. That's kind of the excuse that we heard, is everybody was tired. So, hey, Burns played all season. Let him rest.
There you go. That could be. Wayne, what's your issue, man? Like, what's up?
Well, we're all falling into this trap, aren't we?
What?
We're all falling into the same trap. It's against Southampton. We can take it easy. We can take chances. We can experiment.
I'm not asking for stuff to go on.
But Botman's not. We're not pulling him up from the U21.
By the way, 2 games ago or 3 games ago, nobody was questioning Botman. They were surprised
nobody was questioning Burn either. He'd been one of our players of the season.
Well, okay. Well, that's according to you. But we were questioning. People were questioning Fabian Schär. So, I mean, why can't we just keep trying what we try? Out of the games that Botman played, which is how many games, bro? I mean, you got Wolves, Bournemouth, and then before 2 more games before that, maybe. Mm-hmm. He was excellent, except one. And by the way, the one where everybody else was rubbish, as well, not just him. So other than Tonali, obviously, but Tonali is always good. So why do we have to make a change? Why does the one that need to be punished, why does it need to be Botman?
Why does it need to be Burn?
Nobody said Burn. Nobody said that Burn needs to be punished. But why do we need to immediately change?
So yeah, what you're saying is Botman and Burn start. And
if that's the case, I could see Eddie doing that. By the way,
well, I can't see Eddie doing that. I cannot see Eddie doing that after making that change at halftime, specifically because he wasn't happy with where the left footer was playing right back.
It'll be Schär. I think it'll be Schär as well. I do think Eddie will play Schär and Burn. As to what I would do, I'm in 2 minds.
I think Schär's guaranteed.
Well, guaranteed. To be honest, I don't know what he did against Bournemouth because he was just as bad.
Nothing.
So what's the point? I don't understand that.
I just think that's in Eddie's mind now that he needs a right footer at right centre back.
All right. Well, then, so now we're just getting to know just more proof that our manager tends to be stubborn with certain things. Just one more to the list. I would just keep the team the same, man. But anyways, we're the one to watch on the center backs.
See, I guess we have to agree on something here, guys.
We got to agree on something. So, Mighty Wayne, what's your starting center back?
I'll have a vote.
I'm going Botman Burn.
Huh?
I'm going to say him again, Botman Burn.
But you just said he wouldn't start Botman.
Well, I know. I'm asking what I would start.
Okay, all right. Brent, what would you do?
Oh, man. Probably Burn Shar.
Burn Shar, okay. Tim.
It's a tough one. I would give Shea another chance alongside Burn.
All right.
And see how he gets on. But I'd have Botman to come in very soon if Shea is still.
Yeah.
Don't hide your hand now, man. You're either gonna throw the rock and keep your hand high. Peter.
I would put Botman in, and I'll be tempted to put cat amongst the pigeons really, and put maybe Burn and maybe Botman and Shaw could be a good combination because you have got a left footer and right footer.
Well, that is the combination, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So then you got balance there. I'd be tempted to do that, but I don't know. I mean, it would be harsh on Burn as I know he's made a few mistakes, but overall, I think he's had a pretty good season. So, I'd go for that reason. I would stick with Burn and put Botman next to him.
Burn and Botman. All right, so that is 2-2 right there. So it looks like Gary. Gary, what do you vote for?
Burn and Shaw. I just think Botman's carrying his groin. He looks completely void of any speed. His turning ratio is not great. I'm sorry. I just think
we're better selling them.
Well, it's not about selling him, man. It's about bringing him back when he's fit.
Like
I said, he has been
and
carrying
by
his
the way,
groin for a couple of weeks.
And shouldn't the club report that?
Yellers, so he's walking a tightrope kind of thing.
If that's the case, the club should have reported that already. Botman's got a little something going on, and that's what's
They had a
happening.
groin niggle the week before, and he mentioned it, and he said, "Can you play on?" And he said, "Yes." Now this is the typical Eddie Howe. We've got now covered at right centre back because Shaw wasn't available, Kraft wasn't available, and the only option you had was bringing Kelly in at right centre back. So I think at the end of the day, Eddie's taken a risk, but there's something for me that Botman just doesn't look right on that right hand side. Whether it's the fact that it's not his position, and you're absolutely right, Chris. I mean, he hasn't played bad in games before, but we certainly haven't had teams that have come at us and put him under a bit of pressure where he's got to react really quickly. And like I say, for me, he was a yard off pace. So I'm not sure.
All right. Go on. Somebody wants to come in?
Yeah, just there was a comment there I just seen there. There's a fair point made there, about Shaw does pick out Gordon quite well, doesn't he? With those kind of long passes.
Well, he does every now and then.
The one that he gave up to Bournemouth last week, he was trying to get to Gordon, though. Shanked it.
I know that was pathetic, really.
He does a lot of those, to be fair, Shar, man.
Yeah.
It's just pointless, just to the air. Some work, some don't. All right, midfield. There should be no question whatsoever. The midfield.
What about fullback?
Oh, sorry about that. We gotta make some. Hell yeah, we can't leave these guys here. Target on the left. He's got to go on and put some cream where needed, because where my guy at? Lewis Hall right here. Got to come back to the pitch.
There you go.
And then Trippier. I'm always open to a Trippier Livermento
honestly
conversation.
Wouldn't be mad if Tripp started.
I always got time for that, man. I always got time for Trippier.
Here's a caveat for you. If we're talking about leadership and Burn, Trippier's got the leadership. So
exactly.
Botman and Shaw in the centre, and then Trippier right back.
Botman, Shar, and Trips. I like it.
Yeah,
Well,
look at
that-
that.
To be honest,
that
I'd be
three-
tempted to play Trippier, but the only thing is Southampton have got a lot of pace.
Yeah, they got
From
speed there.
what I've seen down their left side.
Yeah.
So for me, I'd want to refresh the side a little bit, and that was one thing I had in mind with Trips. But looking at Southampton, I know it's Southampton, but down their left with Walker Peters and that young winger they've got, that's the only reason. Really, I would probably play Tino myself. Otherwise, I probably would look to refresh right back.
Yeah, but Trips does sit in the 6 a lot when we go forward, especially it frees up all going down that left-hand side. What you get is Trips then will just drop into the inside right position and sit alongside Tonali or Bruno if Tonali's moved forward a little bit. So you do get that cover with Trips. And to be fair, I have recently watched Tino saying what a poor game. It was probably his worst performance for the club. So it wouldn't surprise me, if I'm honest with you, whether they just leave Tino on the bench this week and start Trips.
Hey man, like I said, I always got time for Trippier coming back in because I think Trippier and for a certain time for a small time there I just wanted him out because he just it felt like he wanted to leave. But I mean I really like Trippier, man. You know, and I just feel like he can play still. You know what I mean?
He's old school in his leadership. You know, we're talking about leadership. He really is old school that way. Like he barks out the orders and organizes the team. To be fair.
Waldo says Tino overlapping will kill Southampton. It's his whole club.
Yeah, that's true. It's his whole club. He might get an extra 5% from him.
Yeah,
because everybody wants to do well against their old club.
Yeah, that's what people say, but I just
somewhat familiar with the players he's up against.
Yeah. All right. So who? Trippier or Livramento? Might you win?
Trips for me.
Look at that. You got some votes for Trips. Brent?
Yeah, Trips.
Wow. Tim?
Tino overlaps, but he doesn't do anything with the ball.
Well, exactly. He overlaps a lot, but not really doing much. So Tim?
I mean, I agree. Tino was not good, and I wouldn't be averse to Trips playing at all. I would still maybe play Tino for this game, see how he gets on. If he doesn't play well at all, then next game I'll be looking at Trips. But for this one, I'll pick Tino.
All right. Peter?
It is a tricky one. I would be tempted to put Trippier in just because, you don't want to lose this one, and
correct.
It's like just shore things up a bit. He's got the experience, the know-how. I mean, don't get us wrong; he's not perfect. He was sloppy as well, actually, when he came on against Bournemouth. He gave it away quite easily.
The fourth goal wasn't great, was it? Backing off.
Oh yeah, completely backed off the whole
narrow,
way,
wasn't he?
Yeah, but he just that intensity he brings. I think maybe away from home, he might need that. So, I would probably give it a Trippier. Let's go with that.
Ooh, man, that's good, man. A chance to no, hold on, Gary. What do you think?
Well, I'd give it to Tino, but we've already got 4
So
trips.
That's not for because that's what trip 1 2. Oh yeah, that's 4 trips. Yeah, isn't it? No, because Tim said Tino.
3. Yeah, Tim.
What's that, Tino?
Exactly.
Didn't you say Trips?
No,
I said like I'd be looking at Trips.
I thought Chris said Trips.
I haven't said anything yet. So
right, okay, sorry.
So what do you say?
Yeah, I'm going to say Tino because unfortunately, what I've seen, as much as I like the inside right position that Trips covers, we are so unbalanced down the right hand side. We've got very little action coming down that right hand side, and with Tino, as much as he doesn't do anything when he gets to that final third of the park, he's not a great crosser of the ball or anything like that. What I find with him is we see more balance down the right hand side, and it brings other players.
Yeah, he drags defenders with him.
Absolutely, because the one thing that you obviously need, the same as Hall, sometimes you need to go outside, sometimes you need to come inside. Tino does that on the right hand side as well. And like I say, you don't get much of an end product with Tino. But as Waldo has said, I mean, I think you may get a little bit more from him because it's Southampton. So yeah, I'd go with Tino.
All right. Well, I would go for. So how many Tinos we got? We got 1, 2 Tinos. That's it.
Yep. So if you say Tino, it's a tie.
Yeah. It's 3-2
Uh,
at the minute.
well, I'll give the vote to the chat, and all of them are voting Tino. To be fair,
There you go.
so it would be a tie. It's still a tie.
So it's your casting vote.
Oh,
then,
still, I am the casting vote. No, I'm gonna give it. I want Trippier to start, but I don't think he will. I think Tino will start. So yeah, I think it will be Tino. But
Why do you want Trippier to start?
because I want that leadership. I know that defensively he will place himself in the right position. He won't go forward knowing in a certain play, whatever's happening right there. If he feels like him going forward and leaving that space open is going to jeopardize the team, he will make that executive decision to. He's got more of a brain at this point than Tino, because Tino goes forward nonstop. And look, he can probably catch if he does leave that space open in the back. He has fast enough to probably try to catch up with whoever's attacking, and I think I've seen him do that every now and then. But still, it has some lapses, man, defensively that it's tough to watch at times. And going forward, Tino doesn't really have an end product. He really doesn't. But
okay, then I'm going to say Kraft.
So that's
Kraft is available. Kraft is available.
4-2 Trip. We don't need a cast and vote from the vote.
So, I would put Trippier, but I think Eddie will put Livramento. So that's what I'll go with.
Just think as well, corners, free kicks.
Oh, that's Trippier as well. Which, by the way, when he's on the pitch, sometimes he doesn't. He skips them. Gives them to.
Trip doesn't take the set piece. For a fact that someone off the training ground.
So there you go, Livramento in there. So midfield, I'm assuming we got it already. No issue with the midfield.
Yep, keep Longy up there. Keep Longy.
Looks good to me. Longstaff, Maley, and Willock.
So we'll put these guys here, and we got
definitely
Bruno.
Longstaff with Tonali. No doubt about that.
Yeah,
that would
no
definitely.
question, right?
That
We'll
would
bring that one up again.
Win, where's your numbers at? Bring them up.
Oh man, he's got them right there, man. God forbid he brings them up.
Do you think I'm joking, like Brad?
Yeah, I'm joking too.
Do you think I'm joking? Maybe I'm not.
You're definitely joking. But Gimenez, Tonali, Joe Linton. I would assume everybody's happy with that.
Yeah, and that's another reason I would have Trips there, because Trips and Bruno just work so well together on that.
That is true.
Right. Would you not play Miley? I think Miley needs some minutes.
Well, if you look at it from the perspective of
definitely needs to play.
It's a weak team that we're playing, then yeah, you can make that.
But I think
team, we're at it again.
What we need to do is put a couple goals in early and let Miley get about 30 to 40 minutes if possible.
Miley looking good, man. He's looking really good.
I just think like the midfields, the need to have that competition, which granted they haven't really got in terms of other players, but they need to know that their place is under threat. And if they have a really bad game like they did against Bournemouth, I just think like there needs to be some kind of reaction to that. And with Joe Linton, for example, I'm just thinking maybe of Miley in his place, where Joe Linton knows that, you know what, he's got to be on it to keep his place in the side, because those three, because they're so far ahead of the backup players, I do think there's a danger of them getting in the comfort zone too much, as good as they are. And when you have a game, like I say, against Bournemouth, like we did, I'm just thinking there should be some repercussions. And Miley himself is so talented. He can come in and do the job. You know what I mean? Like, we've seen it last season. And I think we need to keep things fresh a little bit and keep him ticking along. So I'd be very tempted to play Miley to replace Joe Linton for this one.
How close is J7 to another game off for too many yellows? Because he's racking them up again.
Yeah. I think we got the best midfield in the world, man. So
I don't think after a loss, like you said, we're not quite to a point.
No knee jerks.
Miley's not quite to a point where for a fact he can come in and do something. He's close. I think we all see it. But yeah, I think after a loss, you want to get a win, get back on track, and then maybe you can.
Keep it solid.
Yeah.
And like I say, you've got a good player who can actually pass the ball through the lines. If later on in the game, when the opposition start getting tired, and that's what I love about having Miley on the bench now, is you've got a natural passer, progressor of the ball, that can play in that deep role. So, and it gives us cover across the three. You were saying about everybody's tired. I think the beauty of it is now with the likes of Miley and Willock, they're so versatile that they can cover a multitude of places.
All right. Left wing, I think, Gordon, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
well,
No
Harvey
issues?
Barnes is out, isn't he?
So definitely Gordon there. Up front, Isak instead of Asula. You can
No, that's Ruddy's spot.
Rody, man.
That's Ruddy. Isn't that right, Beer Viking?
Al Shabab won the Rudy as well. Almiron. This could be Almiron's last game with the tune. I thought I watched the last one, but something's going on with this deal thing. Where's the right wing? Where's Murphy?
Where is Murphy? You got him. He's not in the hospital. So, what'd you do with Murphy? Where'd you put him?
He's down the bottom, I think.
Where the hell is Murphy? No, that's
It's a youngster.
What?
Is there not two on top of Wilson, Chris?
No, Wilson is on the right.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. From here, it looked like there was two overlapping.
Where the hell is what? Murphy's right here. Look.
You done? Oh.
So he was just he was hiding. All right. So he's going to the right wing. So, I mean that should be the lineup, right? Dubravka, Fabian Schär, Byrne, Lewis Hall, Livramento, Tonali, Joe Linton, Bruno, Murphy, Isak, and Gordon. That should be the lineup against Southampton. I don't think there's a point to do a player by player. Do you guys think that? I like Walker Peters though. He's a good player, but I don't think he gets in our team anyway. But
have they got anything on the right hand side that you could look at?
Archer.
Yeah, well, Cameron Archer's no.
So there we go.
Going forward, but he doesn't work backwards.
Ryan Fraser,
you're late, man.
Shame on you, Tiger.
Shame on you,
Tiger. How's Shar starting in front of Botman though? Yeah, well, we've been talking about that, but you haven't commented, so you're showing up late, man. Players who have played for Southampton and Newcastle, ladies and gents, you get one shot, one opportunity to say one player. Brent, go on first.
Shearer, man.
Oh yeah, that is true.
Shearer.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Not forgot, but that is probably the most successful one. Well, maybe not. Who knows? Mighty Wayne, give me one player from Southampton and
Adam Armstrong.
Okay, whatever. Armstrong, yeah, you're right. Tim?
Jeez, I can't think of one.
Come on, man.
He plays off the bench for him. We just
Ryan Fraser, Jesus Christ. I said him before. I said him like 2 minutes, like 30 seconds ago.
Ryan Fraser, there you go. It took Peter's pick.
Yeah.
We got a pretty good one, man. Peter.
Bloody hell, man.
We got two good ones.
It'll be obvious, won't it?
Yeah. It would be.
God.
All right.
Hang on.
Lift the weight down.
Bloody hell, man.
There's three good ones, to be honest.
Okay.
But
Southampton.
Did Kevin Keegan play for?
You're his twin, Tim. You're supposed to have that connection. You know it.
Kevin,
it ain't working.
Did Kevin Keegan play for Southampton?
Yeah.
Did he?
Oh wow, I didn't know that. He's not even on my list, so you can tell this thing could be dodgy. But
go to Gaz. Let us think.
Okay, let's think. Gary, now you, Gary. Leon Best is a good one. Leon Best. John Beresford, man.
Johnny B.
John Beresford.
He moved to Southampton after, yeah.
Denny Guthrie.
Bloody hell.
Yeah.
Right. I didn't realise he went to Sutton.
Yeah, Denny Guthrie. Then we got Fitz Hull. He just played for us. He played for us like.
I remember him. Championship season.
Fitz-Hall. Yeah, that's 2009 and 2003.
Mm.
Alan Nielsen back in 92 in the 90s. Alan
Oh,
Nielsen.
he was one of the
Yeah. Barry
academy
Venison
players.
as well, wasn't he?
Oh, nobody said. Yeah, Alan Nielsen. Nobody said Matt Target.
Oh,
Didn't
Matty
realize he
Target.
played for them.
Tino.
Come on.
Did anybody
Oh,
say
Tino.
Tino?
Nobody
Tino?
said Tino.
That's the
Peter.
obvious one. That's exactly what I
Oh,
was
Peter.
waiting
That's
for.
what I was thinking. Peter,
Peter,
was gonna go
man.
Exactly. That's what I was.
Jesus, man. I said it. I did say it would be obvious. So
I actually
yeah.
forgot about it, but we mentioned it actually already. But Matt
Yeah,
Target.
I'm thinking back in the 90s and like the 2000s, and
Nah,
I'm not
Did
thinking
Barry
like today.
Venison play for them?
Barry Benison, yeah. Barry
Yeah,
Venison. So
And obviously Adam Armstrong.
I
There
like
you
the
go.
red and white stripe.
yeah. Leon Best is a good one though.
Yeah.
Yeah, so interesting. But the most
the top-
successful has to be Alan Shearer. Well,
Yeah.
John Beresford, man, he played a lot of games for Newcastle.
Kevin Keegan.
Well, Kevin King could be one of the most successful. Exactly, yeah. One size fits all, though.
I
Remember
love
that? He only played like 7 games for us, 11 games for them.
Like someone said Bernard. That's a good one.
Oliver Bernard.
Ollie Bernard, I didn't know he played for them.
Oh,
I don't have him on my list, but Stephen
Yeah,
Carr.
Yeah, he did. He came to. He went to them after us, didn't he, Oliver Bernard?
Stephen
but
Carr.
I think he barely played for them. He was English for most of the time, I think.
Yeah. That wouldn't surprise me.
Stephen Carr played for Southampton.
I don't think he
No, I
did.
didn't know that either.
Don't think so.
I don't think so. Tiger Stew is making stuff up, man.
Unless he played for them before Tottenham, and then he went to Tottenham after. I don't know.
All right. We got a big topic that we need to discuss, and we'll clip that and post it tomorrow. But before that, your predictions. Mighty Wayne, what's your prediction?
1-0 to the tune.
1-0. Man, you're gambling on that.
1-0.
Brent?
So I'm gambling on Gordon with a brace, so I got to go at least 2-0.
Oh, 2-0. Tim?
2-1 Newcastle.
2-1 Newcastle. Peter?
I'll say 3-1. Back on track.
There you go. And Gary?
Yeah, that was my prediction right at the start of the week. 3-1.
Okay, sounds good. My prediction was on the thing here. What was it? 3. I said 3-0 Newcastle.
And we are waiting for scores from
Exactly.
Antagonizing Geordie,
Yep.
Niall Powell,
Have
Mighty
you checked the
Mag.
community? Have you checked the community of the channel?
Check the community. Mighty
I've
Mag,
seen AG for ages.
Elias Tobias, Amrit.
By the way, Andy Bell's changing to 4-1 Newcastle.
Yeah, I've got 4-1 for Andy. Ulfa, Jonathan Shaw, Trulls,
I think Japadowni's gone 4-1 as well.
George Eaton, Foxy, and Paul.
There you go. Marky's got his prediction in. There we go. I think. Well, AG. Last time I heard from AG was he was sick, but he said he was doing better. So I'm not sure.
Yeah, I haven't heard from him for ages.
So we shall see.
He's got to bring on a Sula, sooner than
Sooner.
90 minutes or something. If it's not going well and we need options going forward, I really hope that he gives Asula a chance, because I think he could do some damage. So if it's not going well, I think hopefully we can bring up players off the bench to
on time
sort it out.
Yeah. All right. Big topic of discussion, ladies and gents. Craig Hope reporting today that his exclusive world-renowned firm behind Real Madrid Super Base and Spurs Stadium will now design new Newcastle training ground. This is the training ground. He's got full details on his article, of course. Some people, saying that some people are happy, some people don't care. Training ground. I mean, obviously, it does support the team, so people should care about it. But some people saying that it's taking a year to come up with a training ground plan. They're not excited for that. and also this probably could cost about over 200 million pounds. That's quite a bit of money, to be fair. Now that's fine, perfectly fine. Now, first question: does the money that we spend on this does it count towards?
No, nothing.
No.
Doesn't affect infrastructure. Doesn't affect.
So I don't mind spending the money on it, because then you talk about training ground sponsors.
Yeah.
If this is going to be the state of the art training ground, one of the best in the world, then it could attract some sponsorship, and that will help.
I think that's been the biggest problem with apparently, according to what Craig Hope was saying, was being a bit of a gripe to some of the players, because we even though we've put 10+ million into what we have now, we're still behind the times compared to other places. So I think you're absolutely right. I think it needs looking into, but it again doesn't really matter how much they put into it, because it doesn't affect the PSR or anything. So go for it. Make it something, renowned to the northeast, and let us have the Wembley of the north for me.
Yeah.
Well, to me, what it screams of is they make doing mending now until they decide where the stadium is going to be. Because if the stadium involves a move right out of town, then what they'll do is get an area of land that's big enough for the training ground and everything that they're wanting to do with the new stadium.
Well,
they'll do it all in one. And that's the only way I can say it costing anywhere near 200 million.
Yeah, well, there's been 2 areas that have been shortlisted according to what's out there. There's the racecourse, owned by the Rubens, obviously.
Yeah.
And Walsington.
Yeah, Walsington's the favourite
by
for
the
me.
airport, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't think the training ground is an issue, to be honest. Just let them build it. If it's the best, the best.
They did say as well, when they first took over PIF, or soon after, I think I'm right in saying that they said early days that that was part of the plan to build a new training ground, and that they would update the current one. In the meantime, they'd update it, but ultimately they wanted to build a whole new base. So they said they were going to do it a couple of years ago now.
What would make sense to me is them taking over the whole of that Kingston Park.
But the Lasses play there, man.
Yeah.
I know you don't care about the Lasses, but I mean.
No, the Lasses. That's the whole point. They'll have that mini stadium for the Lasses still, with a training complex right next door.
Yeah.
And I think
what do you do in the meantime?
That's it. Well, that's if they're going to stay at St James's Park.
I don't think they're going to.
Yeah, I don't
think they're going to move.
Hey, I'm desperate for a season ticket, so
maybe. Well, you might have a better chance if they get a new stadium.
Well, you will have a better chance.
Exactly. So if anybody's wanting to get rid of your season ticket, let me know. I don't care if it's all the way up high in Mars somewhere. I'll get it. I'll bite your hand off of it.
Betsy want one as well. Are you going to share it?
Well, I mean, I can't ask for too much, man. You'd be lucky to get one. It'd be lucky to get one. But no. Ideally, are you kidding me? As many season tickets available, let me know, and we'll sort that. We'll sort something out. But it's interesting where Newcastle United are headed, man. We there's an uncertainty, not in a bad way or in a good way, just in any way. There is an uncertainty because we don't know what's going to happen to the stadium. I would like to think that it's going to be a big, a big stadium, a mini stadium for the Lasses. You see why Mighty Wayne got it? Exactly. Because I didn't want to dwell too much on that, man. When you said the mini, just give them a mini stadium and they'll be fine. Come on, man. The Lasses are doing good. They signed a good player now. Mighty Wayne, you heard all about that yesterday, man, in the earlier show.
He was asleep, man. What are you talking about? He was sleeping at that point.
Oh man, the Lasses are doing good, man. The Lasses are doing good.
They've sold Freya.
Hey, I got a question though. Can you the season tickets for? Do they have season tickets for the Lasses? Or is it the same? Like the same for the men? Like
I would imagine they do. I honestly don't know.
They do have season tickets, but you can also pay per game.
No, I know, but just so their season tickets are not the same as the men's.
No.
But if you're a men's season ticket holder, it doesn't mean that you can go to every women game. Is what I'm trying to say. All right. Well, just good to know. Good things coming up, I'm sure, for Newcastle. I would hope.
There's an interesting thing there, by the way, from Davey T regarding the atmosphere. SJP has slumped in recent seasons. New ground mate just bought revival. I don't know about recent seasons, but on Saturday it was poor. The atmosphere, and I put that down to 12:30 kickoff.
Well, we talked about this a little bit afterwards, didn't we? And like, I think it has the atmosphere in general. I agree with that comment there about in general. It's you've got the southeast corner that want to try and get things going. They make all the noise, but it's imbalanced. It's like the majority of the fans are not like that, and obviously it's fine if you're not that kind of fan. You're not going to just don't want to ban people from the stadium because they're not singing, but you want to have that balance where, it's not just a small corner in the ground who are like getting things going. Like the Leazers end should be, fucking getting involved. You know what I mean? It used to be like that. You used to have the Leazers getting involved and generating the noise from that end. So you got both ends of the ground where there's an atmosphere.
I don't know if we've got enough time, but I mean, we had a fascinating conversation, didn't we?
Well, let's keep going.
On Sunday regarding what you and Tim sort of tried to get going in the Ashley era. So you might want to.
It started under Robson, actually.
Yeah.
Well, I know actually that particular story we need to leave it for a specific segment, because it's a really good story about these two. We used to have ultras in the building, in the tune, and these two right here, man, they used to be all marked up. Tattoos all over.
Ultras is pushing it like.
It's like the PSG. They're like the PSG ultras, man.
Yeah, it was a very, very interesting.
But really good story. That we need to bring it up, of course. So we will do that. No, but I mean they're part of the channel, man. So they didn't go nowhere. But it's a story that it's going to take a minute. So we really want to dwell on it, because they actually, now jokes aside, try to help out the atmosphere, and obviously being in that era under Ashley. If you went against them, you weren't getting in the stadium, or you were being disrupted at least. So it's a really good story. So we're gonna bring the Twins for that. What do you guys expect on the stadium? Like, when can we hear an answer, man? Because
we spoke to Simon Cutler. Just Simon Cutler.
Yeah.
And one of the things he said was, if they did move, that it wouldn't be that far. So. And I think that's really important. I'd absolutely hate it if it was out of the city, and I do think that if they do move, then I think it will be within the city, and hopefully, maybe Leazers Park, for example, it's literally just behind St James. It's pretty much the same location. So, fingers crossed, you've still got that kind of walk to the ground in the city on match day if they do move. I mean, with regards to the atmosphere, I'm kind of reluctantly coming round to, like David T says, maybe if you did move to a new ground, you've got more scope then to arrange the seating plans to aid the atmosphere. And regardless what happens, that needs to be done. Do you mean whether it's in James's Park? For me, they need to extend the stand area. They need to rejig the seating plans so that more like-minded fans are together, maybe more fans next to the away fans who want to have that banter as opposed to family enclosure. But if it's somewhere else, as long as it's designed in the right way and it caters towards fans who want to have different experiences, that includes singing for the team and generating the atmosphere. You don't want to sanitize it. I absolutely hate to go to a new stadium where it's soulless, it's completely sanitized. We've got to be really mindful of that. But kind of reluctantly, maybe that would be the way for one to kind of rejig everything with regards to the seating plans. But like I say, that Simon Kappa, he said that to be honest, I get the impression that like they probably do want to move, but they want to only do it with the say-so of the fans. The last thing they want to do is get over like a storm with fans kicking off about this, because it is an emotional thing. So I think they're kind of maybe biding the time, so the groundswell opinion is, reluctantly let's go to a new ground. So I think that's what they're probably going to do, like, to be honest.
it seemed like he had somewhere in mind. I mean, just the way that he was talking when he said about
Jopadoni's in there. When you think that Bullock Steads could be a place? Well, Bullock Steads is the university sports complex which adjoins Kingston Park, and that's exactly what I've got in mind. That if you took Bullock Steads and Kingston Park and the wasteland behind the two of them, you've got a fabulous area there that you could develop. Fabulous area.
Yeah. Sorry, Peter. Go and finish.
I just like the fact that he was quite quick in saying at Simon Kappa when we mentioned about the location, he was very quick to say it won't be far. I thought, well, you would only really know that, you'd only give that answer if you've got somewhere in mind already. You wouldn't, you know what I mean? Like, so I think they've got an area already in mind that they're looking at to move to.
Fine far.
Say again?
Yeah, that is true.
I know. It's subjective.
I'm talking about it will be within the city. Well, Gosforth Park's within the city.
By the way, the Daily Mail understands that 2 sites have made the shortlist for the training ground. Land near Newcastle Racecourse, owned by the Rubin family, and in Woolsington, close to the Newcastle airport, and the race course is the most likely area. How far is that from? Well, I mean, it doesn't matter, I guess. From the stadium, but I mean, it would have to be relatively close, I guess. No, I mean,
it's just within half an hour.
Half an hour.
Something else that Kappa said. He says we were talking about the boxes, because he was talking about the East Stand. Like where Win sits. You sit in the sort of prime. It's a prime position in the stadium, isn't it? Like prime.
That's the sleepy end.
It is, like, to be fair. But like he was saying, like anywhere else in England, that is like you would charge premium for that seat, but they can't do that because it's just a normal seat. And I said to him, well, the East Stand, if you look at the 90s, did have boxes running along that stand
behind what's now level 1, if you like.
I had like the sort of the enclosure at the bottom, didn't you? And
you had standing in front of them.
But even when it was seats, you had the black and white seats at the bottom and the boxes above that. And then it was only up until 2000 when they redid the East Stand, along with obviously the Leazes and the Milburn. So I said to him, well, how about, because we were like having a discussion about all the, like, playing devil's advocate a little bit, what if we stayed, what if we done this to the ground, done that? And I said to him, well, if you want to put boxes there, we used to have them there, what if you just put them back? Because it was done already, like in the 90s. And he obviously made the point that, if we done that, we could, but if we did, we're gonna piss off hundreds or thousands of fans. Then we're gonna tell fans.
You're not only going to piss them off, but you're also going to reduce capacity.
Reduce capacity as well. Yeah, I mean, obviously you charge a lot more for the boxes. But
so you might make a little bit more money, but reduce capacity of the ground.
Yeah, exactly. So would it be worth it? Basically, probably not. So it was interesting, like. But yeah, I feel the vibe he was giving off. I thought they want to move. They want to move stadium.
I think because of the limitations as well. Like you can't. You're not going to be able to extend it to like 70,000, for example, or even less than that. And that's
because he said the maximum would be 60, and I said to him, well, Arsenal's stadium is 60, and then he says, yeah, but they're looking to extend theirs. If you look at the top of their stadium where it goes round, they're looking to fill
I think the key to this whole thing is the stack. They have realised how much
they can make so much money.
3,000 people.
But I want to get into the pricing of it though, Mighty Win, because just going to one of the first comments that the Kenny put on the chat today, he said, "Dumb question, is Wilson fit?" And then he says, "But it's not as dumb as sending a letter to Darren Neals, who stepped down in September." I don't think Darren Neals stepped down. He's still CEO of the club. He's still actually in charge. because the Newcastle United Supporters Trust sent a letter to them. We talked about it in the video earlier. Asking to freeze prices, to ticket prices, etc. To be fair, let's talk of prices a little bit. If we, I mean, it's not a show on stadium, to be fair, but just to finish off, how much more in a new stadium could the prices be? So you Mighty Win are in a good seat, not the best seat. No matter how many times he wants to lie, he's not in the best seat. He's a really good seat, really good seat. Do you expect? Because I mean, you say that the prices will go up, but I tell you what, if they go up really high, you might struggle, man. I mean, we pay you 150 a week here, 150K a week on the channel. But the season tickets.
Where do you send that money to?
It's all going to your trust. You got to trust. Put it under your name, man. But no, for real though. Like, how much more can those tickets go up? Because I mean, it has to be within reason.
In all honesty, I should be paying, if I was in a comparable seat in any other top Premiership stadium, I'd be paying at least $2,000.
That's not bad, to be fair, but
no, it's not too bad.
I mean, well, there we go. Tim, because the difference is, the difference in culture, or however you want to look at it. Tim, I think you feel like that is high, and my initial thought wasn't that, but
I like, if you're in a box, then yes, it's not high, but I just think with the price, and again, like a lot of things, there's a balance to it, and you talk about. As I watched that video between you about the ticket pricing, and I think you said win about lockdown. Like the game is nothing without fans. You're seeing that with lockdown. Correct. So what does that entail? Do you know what I mean? Like that entails atmosphere. That entails engagement from the stands. If you've got to be really careful not to price out the working class fans, because ultimately, if you gradually increase the prices whereby working class fans are priced out, then like I said before, you're going to sanitize the atmosphere, you're going to sanitize the game. The game itself is being sanitized too much anyway for my liking, but you've got to tread that line carefully. So while I completely get that, performances have improved, the club's got its ambition back, those prices were based on the Ashley era, I get that. So yes, I can understand why they go, but you've got to be really careful to cater to fans, especially, you've got fans as well who've got families, they want to take the two kids along,
that is true.
And they can't afford, they might not be able to afford. So again, yes, it's a balance, and this is where a new stadium, kind of reluctantly accept that if you had a new stadium, you've got more chance where you've got different sections of the ground that's more cheaper, more expensive than others, and you can have fans from different kind of living situations who can get tickets. So I'm not planting my flag one way or the other. I'm just saying there's a balance, and you've got to be mindful of both sides.
Yeah, no, that's a good point, man. I mean, especially if you got a family, like if you got three seats, man.
Why do we love the game for the for me, and I'm speaking for me. I love the game for the tribal nature and drama of it. Like that was one of the things that sparked the interest. And like I say, this is very kind of black and white, but if you have a stadium full of middle class or very expensive seats, more and more, I'm sorry, but to me it seems like common sense. You are going to lose some of that atmosphere and some of that tribal nature and some of that banter.
Maybe that's what happened to Man City. We don't know, but something happened there. Something happened at Man City.
Well, I mean, I haven't been, but from what I hear on TV, my God, that sounds like an absolute just talk about a library. My God,
maybe that's what it is. Mighty Win wants to raise all the prices, but man,
whoa, I'm not saying I want to raise all the prices.
You do.
I'm saying that's the reality. If we want to compete on the pitch,
but
we want to buy the players and pay the players wages that they're going to get paid elsewhere, it's a reality.
But you've also said it though, where you've got like one section of the stadium that does cater for fans who, you know, from different backgrounds. You know, like you could have a corner of the stadium. Let's say if they move stadium, you know, you could have a stand or a corner or whatever, where surely there has to be like a sort of a tier, a pricing tier where there's a
right. So
Well, they'll
really,
be up in the nosebleeds.
the only way you'd be able to do that, in reality, for me, is if you were paying on the turnstiles. Because the minute you offer season tickets in those areas, they're going to be snapped up by everybody who just wants a ticket. End of.
I think I agree, but also have it's a fair point. Like, but I mean, maybe that those seats are like high up, or maybe they're not in a desirable part of the stadium. But also, I agree. I mean, they need to have general sale tickets as well. That needs to happen. In
that's true.
my opinion, they need to
And
have.
why is any businessman going to take a risk on general sale tickets, which will be dependent by the very nature on how the club is performing day to day?
Because I think you would get the hardcore fans who can't afford maybe to go these days. They would still go.
So you want the hardcore fans to go and we're playing shit?
No.
Yeah, but
There's fans who go for the atmosphere win. Some fans go just for the atmosphere.
Don't forget, we've already put the prices up by 10%. The season tickets. You know, the cheapest season ticket now at Newcastle is just 650 quid, something like that, 660 quid.
Which is
and that's for 24-25 season. But that's probably up in the gods. You know what I mean?
Well,
so that's what I'm saying. So we've already put the prices up by 10%. The pricing for the cheapest ticket is 662. That's above Man United and Man City. You know, so there has got to be a cut-off point somewhere, because you are just literally, you know, cutting your nose off to spite your face, aren't you? Because I think every club has a ceiling. You know, we're not in London, we're not in Manchester, which is being developed. We're in the northeast, and again, you know, you have got a limit on what people go out there. I mean, don't get me wrong. You know, I'm one of these guys who thinks that football, sport in general, is a luxury, and you have the choice to go or not go. I made that choice in 2011 because I was paying for a season ticket and not able to get to the matches. But it's like going to a restaurant, isn't it, and saying, you know, I want a steak, but I'm not paying your prices. And I think you've got to put it into perspective. You know, football grounds is a business. You know, inflation doesn't just stop at the football, at the front, the entrance of football grounds. It happens around the ground. So they have higher prices. So that will reflect on unfortunately, the people that go through the doors, because that is the only way that can keep the club afloat.
All right. Well, we will do a whole show on this. No worries. We'll end on that note. And yeah, so hit the like button, subscribe. Tomorrow we got the live presser, Eddie House presser. So stay tuned for that one tomorrow, 9:10 in the morning. And so there you go. Thank you to Brent. Thank you to Mighty Wayne. Thank you to Tim, Peter, and Gary. We will see you all on the next one, folks. Ciao, ciao.
How are the lads?